Welcome back, everybody, to Backroom the Unknown, and today I have with me again, Chris.
What's going on, Backroom? How you doing?
Good.
Excellent.
Yep, and we're here to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Phenomenal.
Not this one, but Zack Snyder's Justice League is not out physically yet. It is only on HBO Max as the recording of this video. What'd you think of it?
It's just... I loved it.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie to you. I loved it. If you're thinking it's going to be the same thing as what you saw when it first came out, what year did it come out? 2016?
It is not this. 16 or 17?
Whenever it came out, it is not that
The Whedon.
at all. The Whedon version, yeah.
It is not this one. It's something completely different. I would say it picks up right after Batman v Superman.
Literally, yeah, leads right into it and shows us why certain aspects of Batman v Superman were so important. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's fantastic how it basically replayed the ending of Batman v Superman from a different perspective.
Yep.
And, just takes off from there, and it shows you, it just opens the world up at that point in time to why this is such an important movie and you need to be watching it.
Mm-hmm. It was what should have come out when this one first came out. This is the Joss Whedon one. Obviously, there was a tragedy with Zack Snyder's daughter. Mm-hmm. She passed away. We're not going to get into any of that.
No.
But that's why he kind of left the project, and I get that. But
we're both dads to little girls, and you could imagine how shaking that would be.
Yeah, absolutely. So I get it, but this was not what was supposed to come out. What is on HBO Max right now, Zack Snyder, that's the movie that everyone was looking for, and it's the one that I was looking for when this first came out.
Absolutely. It's like watching a beautiful graphic comic as you're watching it. Every scene, every shot is just cinematographically.
The cinematography is phenomenal.
It's perfect. Cinematographically.
Yes.
I just made that word up, I think. Perfect.
Yes, but it, just like 300, every scene is beautiful. It was missing from the color palette from the Joss Whedon Justice League. It doesn't look good. Even watching it from back then, I don't know if you can tell even from the cover. Everything was I don't know what it was.
Bright and sunny and chipper.
Yes.
And this is the total opposite. Take almost like a sepia filter and put it right on top of this. Yeah. And it's not even quite that. It's hard to explain. It just looks like a graphic novel.
Yes, every scene. They brought back Superman super early in this one, and there wasn't as much tension. In Zack Snyder's, there was actually tension, and I could feel the desperation bringing him back. They gave Cyborg a massive story. He's got like a pinch of a story in this version compared to what Zack Snyder did. And I remember when the original release was coming out, Zack Snyder was saying that, Cyborg is the heart and soul of the movie. I didn't understand it watching this. Watching Zack Snyder, he gave him, it's a full circle with Cyborg, I think.
Absolutely. Love the portion of the Flash in this movie where it actually shows the Flash's powers, like we've never quite seen before. At least I've never quite seen before on film. You think of the Flash, if you're not into the comics, you're more of a casual guy, kind of like I am. You think of the Flash as the guy who runs really, really fast. Mm-hmm. And, he can outwit you based on, just his speed. And it's hard to hit him because he's lightning fast. Well, they actually show him manipulating time in this movie. And, matter doesn't matter to him much because he's so quickly and he can see, within this time that he's able to manipulate. And it's just a fantastic movie. It gives him so much more depth. And I think it gives every character a little bit more depth. The battles on Themyscira and in Atlantis are just so cool. They just show this sense of urgency against Steppenwolf.
There's a lot more weight to everything.
Yes.
That was missing from this. And going back to Steppenwolf, he looks awesome in this compared.
Amazing.
This is like generic villain Steppenwolf. In this, his armor is moving. He looks like, the first time I saw Transformers when Optimus Prime transformed. Even looking at that, there were so many different intricate pieces when they would transform and talk. That's what Steppenwolf's armor reminds me of.
Absolutely.
Because it can form over his head as armor. It'll come down, when he wants to talk about, with his contacts on that's working with Darkseid.
He even has a conversation with Darkseid at one point.
Yes. And Darkseid is in the movie. He's not just a symbol.
Movie.
In this, he's just referred to, and he's a symbol and all that. He actually makes an appearance in this, which I was so happy. And again, it adds more weight. Steppenwolf, they even add more to his story, and just there's a lot more weight with the Zack Snyder version.
Absolutely, and you could tell the love he genuinely has for these characters and the story as you're watching this film. Now, one thing I did want to get into is, now we talked about it before we went on air, don't let the runtime of about 4 hours scare you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's broken up into 6 episodes. We had the dad duty version that we had to watch it.
Yep.
So, I think we both kind of watched the first few episodes. I went about 4 episodes. Had to take a little bit of a breather because, wife and kids came home. Don't really want little ones watching this movie. Could be pretty scary or pretty violent for little ones. And once, everybody went to sleep that night, I stayed up a little bit later and watched the last 2 episodes.
Yep.
Worth it. It's great, though, if you want to watch a little bit at a time. They only run about, what would you say, about 50 minutes a piece?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, the last one's a little bit shorter, but they all run about an hour a piece.
And a lot of credits at the end. A lot of
Yes.
credits. So that took out a lot of time.
Worth the credits, though, to watch it. The beautiful song, which is a beautiful tribute to Zack Snyder's daughter.
That was her favorite song.
Yeah.
So that's why he put that in there. And also he put in some other stuff in there in references to his daughter, which was,
It was really, really cool. It's cool to know that even the actors were all about helping Zack finish, helping Zack.
Yeah. Like you first name basis.
We are, yeah. You'd be surprised.
There you go.
Helping Zack Snyder finish what his vision was. I know there were some reshoots involved with this, right? And they all willingly and happily came back for it.
And I think they all got paid. But as I understand it, Zack Snyder didn't take any pay from this. He wanted it dedicated to his daughter.
Wow.
As I understand, I could be wrong, but that's the understanding that I have.
Sure.
And again, he was adamant that something that he filmed was going to be in here. He didn't want to reuse something that Joss Whedon filmed or someone else.
Sure.
So the integrity of that, the hard work, it shows in this. The love of the characters and what he was kind of planning going forward, phenomenal.
I do think, I obviously I've heard all the stories and rumors as everybody else has as well, and about what went on with Joss Whedon. Don't want to get into that at all. That's none of my business. I wasn't involved in that. If what it is that you've heard is in there, then people are gonna have to deal with that. But you don't want to take too much away from what they did with the original one, because it was still cool to see the characters on screen at some point. I can't do that, so who am I to sit there and say, oh, I'm better. I could have done it better than he could have. You can tell that it did come from a more TV director than it did a feature-length film director, though, when you watched it. I think that's the biggest difference between the two, besides a few little intricacies here and there. It does play out more like a TV show would, or like, like a, I don't want to say a cartoon would, but it's cartoony in nature versus the Snyder Cut, which is just it's amazing.
More weight. It's a slow burn.
Yes.
With weight too. It's a slow burn, but there's stuff going on throughout. So it has a good climax. It reaches that at the appropriate time.
Yes.
And it feels like it's gradually building to that, which I think is necessary.
All right, should we get negative for a second?
Yep.
Let's have some. There are some takeaways that I have, and you kind of schooled me on one of them, which I wasn't too familiar with, but I did say, and the point you make is great, and we'll get into it. I did want to see a little bit more Batman badassery. I know, and like you told me, that Batman is human, and that was showing that aspect of him. He's not Wonder Woman, he's not Superman, Aquaman. So, he is going to be significantly weaker than the others who are superhumans.
Yeah.
But I did want to see Batman kick a little bit more ass,
Who doesn't? I mean,
Sure.
I'm Batkerm. I love Batman. I mean, look at this wall right
You
here. Yeah, exactly. So, I'm all for seeing Batman kick some ass, but because he's on a team and he is nerfed compared to everybody else, the Flash, I think they even showed like his powers. He just pushed someone and they went flying through a wall.
Yeah.
So Batman doesn't have that. And I think when there's a scene where he's fighting parademons, and
there are parademons in this movie.
Yes. And he needs his grappling hook, or he needs this, or he needs a tool or a vehicle or something to kind of keep up with everyone. I liked how they kind of showed that, how he needed technology or gadgets or something. So he is still human, but he's nerfed compared to them.
And he is a bit older too, portrayed in this movie. He's portrayed as like currently Ben Affleck's age. Yeah. He's supposed to be a little bit older than we saw in the Dark Knight trilogy. So it's kind of what he became instead of,
Yep. And I think one of the scenes that they added in there was Batman on the tank from kind of going off the Dark Knight, but the Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's, I guess, love letter to Batman, or changing Batman into modern times. So Batman was on that tank, and you can kind of see some of the mutants tied up from that comics series, if you guys are familiar with that. If you guys are familiar with that.
Absolutely.
But loved that. Loved all the callbacks. I was even surprised. Are they dropping something with Batman and Wonder Woman in this?
I kind of noticed a little something going on there.
And I know that happens in one universe in the comics, but
it does.
Don't know if that's going to happen with this or not. But I really, really enjoyed it. It blows this one out of the water. So
blows it out of the water.
Don't even worry about that one. Don't watch it. Well, go ahead and watch it to compare. But there was so much stuff that was taken out of that or changed. Superman looks amazing in the black suit.
Amazing.
Love it. And Superman, I think, was more powerful in this than he's ever been. He just, I don't know.
It's hard to explain. Yeah, he is the last son of Krypton.
Yeah,
just
and that's
incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and that's kind of how they portray it. He was the saving grace that they needed.
Yes.
And he did that. They also had scenes that they even showed for the trailer for Josh Whedon's movie in this movie, which I was happy that they brought back. Specifically, Alfred talking to Superman, saying, "I hope you're not too late." So I was very happy to see that in the movie.
I will say, I'm glad you brought that up. Alfred was a total badass in this movie.
Yes, they gave him more to do, and it actually made sense. And they're not cracking jokes like they were with the Josh Whedon movie. This is the DC version. DC's always been more serious, darker, and I like that. The Justice League.
Well, why so serious?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. But going back to that, since you touched on that.
Oh, wait a minute.
There's
what? Who's this?
There's that huge scene that they added in. I guess it's a post-credit scene with the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another post-credit scene that we have to talk about too. But yeah, the Joker is in this, and it's it's the nightmare scene where Batman and the Joker have a conversation. Batman and a lot of people have a conversation in this film, in this scene rather. But that's where you saw, a little bit of that Batman badassery.
Yes, and Jared Leto's Joker didn't have the tattoos, so he had from Suicide Squad. So I would like to see more of that Joker, because he still had a little bit of that annoying laugh, but it was a much improved Joker from the Suicide Squad.
It was like an obnoxious laugh in this one, because he's mocking Batman while he's doing it. And what I think, as I was saying before about how it's like an older version of the Christian Bale Batman.
Yep.
I kind of felt like this was an older version of the Heath Ledger Joker.
It could be.
Like he was a little bit more, I don't want to say over it, but he's a little bit more like, I'm pretty experienced at being the Joker at this point. You know what I mean? I'm running the show here. Yeah. Kind of like you got the sense that these two guys knew each other, were rivals, and they hate each other.
Yeah. But now in this Nightmare universe, they're on the same team. So I really want to see more of that. So that's happened in the comics. From time to time, Batman has had to team up with the Joker for one reason or another.
Very reluctantly.
Yes. But this was the first time that we saw this
unbelievable
on camera, on TV, or movie theater quality. So I really want to see this continue.
We need more of this. We need to save the Snyderverse.
Yes. So hashtag save the Snyderverse, continue the Snyderverse, whatever you want to do. But I definitely want to see this continue. I think they said there's Zack Snyder originally planned for 2 other Justice League movies.
That's right.
And even if there's one more, I want to see where this nightmare
Absolutely.
goes or went, and a conclusion to that, or that final fight between Superman and Darkseid. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely. Another post-credit scene that we'll get into before we sign off here was the little visitor that Bruce Wayne got.
Yes, Martian Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter. Very cool. He has gone by many names, but you may call him John.
Yes, and the issue that I had was he's just hanging out the whole time when they're fighting for the fate of Earth, for the fate of the universe, and then just shows up at Bruce Wayne's door.
At the end, like, after the battle, Bruce Wayne's finally getting himself some sleep. He hears a little something early in the morning.
Yep.
Wakes up, and Martian Manhunter standing at his door like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late to the party.
Yeah. So, I get why they did it. Again, I think you touched on it. When you have so many superheroes in one movie, you can only do so much.
Right.
And we kind of saw it with Batman v Superman. I thought she was with you situation.
Right.
So I can see why they didn't do that. He wasn't in the main fold from the start.
Sure.
But he's leading into more, which is what I really want to see more.
But all he would have had to do is, even in the fight with, Doomsday, all he would have to do is show up.
Yep.
He's like really powerful. That's all he has to do is show up.
Yeah.
And that would have been a game changer. I love Bruce Wayne's reaction at the end, where he's just pretty much like, ew, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can't recommend this enough.
No.
I obviously I'm big on DC, big on Batman. This is what I was looking for from the first version. I was disappointed with it. This is what we needed. If you're a big DC fan, Marvel had their time in the sun. They had 10 years going. Phenomenal.
Hats off to them. Yep.
I loved it. And I'm not just all DC. I'm all comic books. I'm all entertainment. That franchise that Marvel has built is phenomenal. But I think DC now has a chance to kind of shine.
Sure do.
I think they're at that point. But to continue that, we got to continue these movies.
Absolutely.
So if you have HBO Max, definitely watch this. Break it up into parts. That's kind of what we did.
Yeah.
It helps. And it's actually, I found it, I went back and watched it again, just all the way through.
I did too. Yep.
And it's almost the first time more enjoyable watching it in those bite-sized chunks.
It really is. Yeah. It gives you something to look forward to. If you don't have HBO Max, get it, watch it. This is not a paid advertisement.
No sponsors.
From HBO. We have no sponsorship from HBO. But get it, watch it. It's worth it.
Yep. And highly recommend it. And again, since we're getting ready to sign off here, we'll do a comic book recommendation. I can't believe I haven't recommended it yet. But obviously, Batman, it's on issue number 107. If you're not reading it, go out to your local comic shop. Start buying Batman. I don't know why you're not. They just had a big event, the Joker War. So now kind of clean up from that with 107. They should be coming out with 108 shortly. So support your local comic shop. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Wash your damn hands.
Wear your mask.
Yep. I'm back, Herm. He's Chris. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
See you guys.